Hey everybody, it's Blair with the Badass Records podcast, welcoming you in for another episode, and I am pleased to share with you that this week's guest is Cassandra Jones. Find her stuff at CassJonesCreative.com or on Instagram at CassJones with 3 O's in that Jones. But more importantly, keep your eyes peeled on the interwebs for Motel Venus, coming to you at motelvenus.studio on July 15th. You don't want to miss it. Episodes of this podcast air Thursdays more often than not. You can consume it on the website, which is badassrecordspodcast.com. Stream it on your platform of choice or view it on YouTube. And if you want to keep tabs with the podcast on Instagram, the handle is at Badass Records Podcast. That is all I have for you this week. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you enjoy the show. This is going to be episode 214 of Badass Records Podcast. I'm a little rusty because I've only done one other June interview. And that was 10 days ago, and now half of the month's gone. And it's the weirdest feeling. But I'm here with Cassandra Jones. Lovely to meet you. I don't think I've ever gone in the neighborhood of 2 hours just bullshitting with somebody before we start. So maybe that means we both have the gift of gab.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for being here and sharing some of your Tuesday evening with me. CassJonesCreative.com.
Yeah.
And at Cass Jones on Instagram. 3 O's in there.
That's right.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Which, you know, I think one could make that ooh sound too with
Totally.
multiple O's.
Yeah.
But that's not your name.
No, it is what people have always called me. It came from the Mike Jones song. Who? Mike Jones.
What is that?
I was big when I was in middle school, and it was the greeting. It was the call for me.
What
Cass
song?
Jones.
What song is that?
The one where he gives out his phone number.
Who?
Mike Jones.
Oh.
Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm big. They all on me.
Huh. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Yeah.
Mike Jones is.
Oh, he's incredible.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a
Rapper?
rapper. Had to come up early 2000s. And that song was Mike Jones.
Nice.
Yeah, put him on the map.
Right on. So, KC-based design studio specializing in brand strategy, illustration, and graphic design. Let's see here. Your website has works, a resume, some contact info, and a fun write-up. You know, we swapped email message or two.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed reading that then, and then we moved to text, and I've thoroughly enjoyed. There's something you have a precise wit and clean copy. You know, it wasn't that long ago that we weren't people weren't texting.
Yeah.
As often. I mean, now it's just like, fuck, trying to keep up with.
Dude.
Anyway, you mentioned in some of that correspondence the pitch, which I think was probably how, I came across you initially.
I think so.
And you mentioned working for the pitch.
Yes.
Tell me about that gig, please.
Yeah. I worked for the pitch for about 2 years.
Okay.
Doing art direction and illustration, graphic design. It was an incredible job. It was so fun. I stumbled upon it, honestly. It just kind of, I'd done social work for about 6 years. And after the pandemic, I was pretty burnt out. I was kind of at the point where I'd realized that it was time maybe to transition to something else. I didn't want to resent the field. I'd kind of reached a ceiling with recognizing, how much change you're capable of doing within a broken system. So I was waiting tables at a farm-to-table restaurant in Overbrook, Kansas.
What? Okay.
It was on a farm. I was basically carrying trays with like teacups full of soup over like mole holes into a field to serve people at this farm to table. It was this very whimsical, kind of like messy, ramshackle behind the scenes thing, but the experience for people was great. One of the editors of the pitch was at that restaurant, mentioned that they were looking for a graphic designer. At the time, I was literally just waiting tables. I'd quit social work with no plan. Just was like, it's time to go,
Can you tell me who the editor is?
Yeah, it was Steph Castor.
Steph Castor, okay.
Was the co-editor at the time, and said that they were looking for a graphic designer. They were always looking for designers for freelance, so I gave her a card of mine.
You were waiting on her table.
I think she was working there.
Oh, okay.
Maybe she was in the kitchen.
Okay.
Her girlfriend at the time was a bartender, now wife. Kate Frick, incredibly talented individual as well. Yeah, Steph mentioned they were looking for a freelancer at the pitch. I'm from Kansas City, so I was very familiar with the pitch. Grew up loving it. And just knowing the brand, I knew that it would be a good fit.
Cool.
So Steph was like, why don't you come in and meet our editor-in-chief, Brock?
Brock did an episode with me.
Yeah, Brock is awesome. Brock is a kind of a forever homie.
Absolutely.
For sure.
He might be buried over there on the wall, but we had a great chat. I loved chatting with him. There was a couple, 2024. I don't know how this happened, but I saw a post that, I mean, talk about clean copy.
Yeah.
And it was in December, and they weren't saying that they were doing this, but it felt like they were kind of spending the whole month targeting cool art folks in the area.
Totally.
And I was just like, every one of them. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, this person sounds cool too. This person, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And eventually Brock was on that list, and he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Lawrence, Kansas was my, dreamy haven as a young high schooler. And it was like, as soon as I had my license in my car, I was going up there to see shows and go to the Phil Zone and buy Birkenstocks and glass pipes but the music scene was the real big draw, and so Thursdays the pitch would come out and you could go to the couldn't flip to the back fast enough to find out.
Yeah, that's where you find all the cool shows.
Yeah.
And that was like where you that if you wanted to know something cool going on, this was pre-social media, pre like Facebook, anything like that. It was always at the coffee shop for me, which was already like the cool kid spot, where I was hanging out, like,
So you
through the pitch.
come in and have an interview, and
I interviewed with Brock to do freelance, and we ended up talking just brand strategy and design, and I'm looking at a lot of their different covers and hearing some of their kind of pain points with design at the time, and ended up leaving with an offer to be full-time designer, which was awesome. It worked out, I was like,
leaving the pitch?
At the pitch.
Okay.
Yeah. Brock and Steph and I had a great conversation. We all really hit it off.
You leave the waiting tables job.
I was still working there. Yeah. I kept it just on the weekends.
Okay.
But yeah, started really going in. I'd done freelance design for a long time. I have an art degree in ceramics and sculpture, and from KU.
Okay.
And ended up after school.
Sorry.
We're aiming for the same footrest. After school,
I was like, whoa, I've never felt that there before.
That's just my foot.
Yeah.
After school, I ended up kind of naturally coursing into social work, via kind of a windy career path. But social work doesn't pay that well. Social services work doesn't, you're not making it, you're not doing it for the money, you know? So I was always doing freelance on the side, always studying brand strategy, which is kind of this combination of both worlds. It's psychology and behavioral science and design and how do those things work. And I always kind of had this awareness that it is the greatest currency in our society. And that was going to continue to grow and be true, and that being a brand designer was going to serve me very well. So in the background of doing social work, I was taking classes, I was training, I was honing my skills, and was presented with this opportunity at the pitch to start to really utilize those outside of a freelance capacity. Because I had done freelance brands, I had branded companies, restaurants. I have a lot of service industry experience, so kind of naturally your service industry family shows up in that way, and
Yep.
that's how you get gigs. Everything about my style, the chemistry of how Steph and Brock and I were already collaborating during this first meeting, you could kind of feel the static in the air that this was going to be a really special opportunity to work together. And it was. It
Cool.
was such a cool job. I don't think that very many jobs like that job exist, because they're very much still leaning into the traditional print culture of magazines and publications and local news. So being able to illustrate in that way and in such a breadth in such a thorough creative fashion was so cool. And I did get a lot of creative liberties there to kind of create universes around each piece. You know, each magazine truly turned into a collaborative art piece between the journalists and myself. It was the coolest job.
Nice.
I think will go down in history as one of the most epic jobs that I had the pleasure to do and the privilege to do. It was awesome.
You did a perfect job of leading me into my next note, which I know you kind of already answered it, but like, you know, old stubborn brain. Illustration, graphic design, I can wrap my head around that. But brand strategy, like, you know, growing up in the 80s, it's like Coke and Pepsi and Ruffles and Lay's, and like, wow, these brands are going head to head.
Yeah.
Like, never in a million years would I have considered the idea of brand strategy had it not become a thing that you see in the world. Like you said, there's a psychological element to it.
Totally.
When do you stumble across this concept, and how long before you like, I not only do I understand it, but I could actually employ myself in this world and do that for others?
Yeah, I am extremely fortunate in that my best friend from college was an illustration major, and we have this creative dynamic that is just I don't know, one of a kind. It's super unique, and they were very much compelled to study brand strategy, and we would, you know, get addled up on iced coffee and spliffs and start to dream wildly about the future, as you do, you know, when you're kind of in your closing years of college, and you're ambitious. We're both incredibly ambitious people who share a lot of the same values of like wonder and expansion and inspiration, and really wanting to build platforms for art and artists to live and work sustainably in the world while still being able to authentically create their work. And that was where we had reached. I mean, I remember really distinctly this conversation we had during the summertime. It was like golden hour. We're sitting in my backyard. We've both been working our fucking asses off on our own creative practice that day. And it was looking at design, digital art as the kind of new frontier for art and sustainability. And I was, you know, really expanding our minds, wrapping our stoned minds around this concept that branding and design were a great currency. And that brands are really what people buy. The product is made in a factory. The product is what exists, but the brand exists in the mind, and that's where the behavioral and the psychological aspect comes in. And we are both the type of artists that like to create universes, more so than just creating a product or, you know, the tangible. It's really about like the process. We're process oriented people. So the two of us, we're really bouncing ideas and gathering information and comparing notes on what is brand strategy, why do we need it, and how do we start to incorporate it into our practice, and how do we start to learn how to implement that. And they moved to LA after they graduated, and I went into social work. I'd started a nonprofit to do.
Really?
Yes, yeah. So I started a mental health art group, teaching people how to use art as a conduit for emotional wellness. You know, how to employ basically cognitive behavioral therapy through art, making it something accessible and something creative. But I was 24. You know, I didn't really know that much about the world, and the population who were attending these free classes, it wasn't a nonprofit at this point. It was just a fucking group that I hosted, you know, once a week. And the people who were showing up were adults, like people in their 40s and 50s and 60s. And people
You're
with
24.
I was 24.
What are you doing here?
Totally. I was like, I'm here to host your class. I'm here to help you with your mental health. And, you know, using a lot of skills that I had kind of built and learned outside of brand strategy. This was like life strategy. This was how I was, skills that I had learned to process my own life's traumas and to transmute those into the really strong ambition that I am just filled with. And
110%.
110%. I don't have any other setting. It really, yeah, it is.
It's great.
Yeah, it is the default setting for me. That's factory setting is 110%. And
I like it a lot. I'm some, you know, 14 editions in the rear view version of that.
yeah,
And the reason why they had to keep, because I want to know all the things and I want to do all the steps properly, and I want to have the satisfaction of accomplishment, but frustration will get in the way and shut me down quicker than you can say, you know, whatever. And I get hot.
totally.
And I get angry.
Yeah.
And I like literally have to like step away and figure out a way to, you know, shut down those misfires before I can be in the place again to get back and do the thing.
Yeah.
And eventually I just go, I got to find somebody to do it for me or show me what I'm missing.
Totally.
That is, anyway.
Yeah, I think that's kind of under the same vein. It's about the process and the exploration, you know, rather than the destination, because I don't know if I've ever really known where I was going, but I've always really loved where I've gotten.
Yeah. And I really love, and this isn't a thing that you, once you get there, it's not, this doesn't come in hand with it. It might be way down the road. But if the opportunity presents itself for me to teach it to somebody, that's, I mean, bliss.
Yeah.
Because giving somebody a skill, is, you talked before we were rolling about wonder.
Yeah.
And it is mostly out there in nature and the world, but it's sometimes with people too. People can.
It's everywhere.
And so if you like, you know, and then you get some of their gratitude on you, it's like, oh my God, this is great.
And you learn. The best way to learn is to teach people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the time when I was 24, starting this group, I was a fucking mess, dude. Like I was a mess. I was trying. Really starting to get the gears turning on becoming the person that I wanted to be, trying to understand why I was the way I was. Why was I working that way? And I've always been that way. Wanted to know why things work, how things work. And it translated into, you know, my cerebral being. And I was working with a therapist at the time and telling her kind of my methods for goal setting and, working with anxiety and depression and things that I was really struggling with that of course, you don't want to fucking struggle, like,
No.
I was like, I got to get out of this. And here are the ways I'm doing that. And she was kind of blown away and was like, you need to show this to other people. You need to teach this to other people.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of the impetus to start this group. And anyway, when I started that group, I realized I didn't actually know anything about the populations I was trying to help. I knew the skills. And as I was teaching the skills to people and hearing their feedback, it became this collaborative healing process where I was getting feedback on the processes I had learned from other people who were implementing them, through their own lens, their own world experience. And I started to recognize I feel so driven to continue this group, but I don't feel prepared. And I really need to know more. And that was what led me down social services. I did case management. I got a job at the local mental health center, Burt Nash Mental Health Center in Lawrence.
Okay.
Using that group as the leverage for why I was qualified to do this job. And I ended up teaching art classes there. I had my own caseload. I was working dual diagnosis with adults who had substance abuse disorder and severe and persistent mental illness. And it was a really intense job. It was very intensive. Like, you're very involved in their treatment journey. You're very involved in their daily life. And again, I'm 24. I'm trying to get my shit together, and I'm taking it on. I'm taking on the responsibility. I'm stepping into what I believe I need to do in order to become the person that I want to be. And ended up staying in social services for 6 years, turning that art group into an actual 501c3, into an actual nonprofit. And I was going into skilled nursing facilities, memory care facilities, retirement homes, and teaching free art classes. And literally, it was actually nonprofit. There was zero profit. I was pretty much just volunteering, and I applied for a nonprofit status just to see if I could get it. And I did. And I just kept doing that up until the pandemic. So it was probably about 2016 to 2019 when I was doing the nonprofit with doing case management, and then the pandemic hit. And that chapter kind of came to a close for the nonprofit, which was fine. It was never going to be a long-term brick and mortar, this has to be my thing forever. Now I'm identified with it. It was like, I'm just going to serve this as long as it serves. And once,
what an outlook.
Well, I think that's kind of how you enjoy the journey.
Right.
Really. Because it's not really a failure. It's just feedback on where to go next. And I think that perspective has really helped me kind of take stepping stones and to see opportunities clearly.
Yeah.
So at the end of that, I had a lot of donated art supplies from this group.
Yeah.
And I went to each facility that I was working at and gave them a box of art supplies. And I wrote 6 months of curriculum and illustrated a book and delivered them 6 months of this curriculum because it was such a necessity. Like, the drive wasn't, I need to share this and people need to know it. That's what it was at the beginning. But it turned into, holy fucking shit, there are no resources for this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people, they don't have a budget. These centers don't have a budget for this. There are not very many people who are just going to go do that shit for free.
Right.
Especially young people who are like exciting and motivated and bring a fresh energy. And it was the service offered to the people and the people themselves, I think, that kept me doing it.
Okay. So when you would walk into these, speaking of the people, and you're brand new in Facility X, and I'm Cass, and this is the thing that I do. Did you get a wide range of reaction? Were people some people into it and some people were angry and get at it. I don't want to. What kind of reaction did you get from folks when you're new at a place?
That's a good question. I would cold call the places first.
Mm-hmm.
I would go in with flyers. That's where the graphic design and the branding came in handy. I branded the nonprofit. It was called the Prism Collective.
Okay, cool.
Seeing life and seeing mental health and emotional well-being through many different dynamic lenses, I think, was kind of the brand behind it. So, and probably getting nonprofit status as well legitimized it. So I would bring in a flyer. I wasn't just some like fucking creep off the street, like, let me come, I was like, hi, I'm here to help. I'm a case manager. I teach art classes and I would love to do that here at this facility. If you're interested, let me know. So the folks who showed up to the classes were there voluntarily. They would, say there's an art class. If you want to come to the art class, come to the art class.
Voluntarily.
Yeah, they would. The people at the facility would say, hey, by the way, here's an optional class that you can take. And there's no activities there. So a lot of people were like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. But you are working with a population of older people who didn't grow up with a dialogue around mental health. You just didn't talk about it.
Right.
So that was the part that was interesting to work with.
Okay.
And I think helped me grow a lot as a person and as an individual, because I had to get really, really comfortable with being uncomfortable. You just had to navigate the awkward silence in the room when you're like, today we're going to do an art project about gratitude. And they're like, what?
Somebody wrote that on the wall. It's right behind the fan there. It says never stay comfortable, and it's in quotes. I wonder, but I think that came up in our conversation, and so she ended up putting it on the wall. But it's a real intriguing notion.
I think it's the another key ingredient, to being creative. And for me, when I look back at the whole journey, it's a creative process. It's an art in and of itself. The art of saying fuck it and going for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, and the art of getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. Because if you can navigate that and if you can get past that, the possibilities are endless for what can happen. And I do think that there is this sense of wonder that I hold as such an important personal value that does drive me. There's this curiosity and this interest of like, what would happen if it went right? Like what might happen here? What might happen if I am able to break through and communicate with this older population the value of mental health, even, at this stage of their life when they're in a home. And this is a fucking massively important time in their life to be addressing mental health.
Yeah.
And if this is when you get it introduced, great. Let's develop that dialogue. Because I'm also of the school of thought that you're never too old, it's never too late to grow, to expand, and that is incredibly healthy for the mind, especially an aging mind.
Yeah.
And to keep people occupied. There were so many drives behind it. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience. Wonderful. Social work and case management was a wonderful experience. It was never the clients that were the issue for me ever. That wasn't what drove me away. It wasn't, this is so much work and I'm so exhausted by these people. It was, I'm so exhausted by this fucked up, antiquated system that won't change.
Right.
And I can't change it. And that was a reckoning for me. That it was not... I think a lot of people go through that journey, from young adulthood, where you think you can save the world.
Yeah.
And you recognize that there are powerful systems in place that absolutely
saving here.
They will not fucking bend. Yeah. Yeah.
I think 1986 is when we settled down in the PV house with all the leaves. And that's where I really cut my teeth. I say cut my gums. I don't understand why we say cut my teeth, because your teeth are cutting through your gums to be accessible,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like the teeth aren't cutting.
I like the
I cut my
expression. I
gums.
cut my teeth, but I am envisioning having fangs after I cut my teeth. Like I am envisioning being like more
I
vicious.
sat down to cut my teeth. I ended up filing them, and now
Yeah.
they're sharp, and I will bite your neck. No, that's where I really was like, stand-up comedy brings me one of the greatest joys I've ever, and I like had hours on that they would put out on tape, and I would watch it on TV. And earlier, I think you were talking about Prednisone Bill, and he would just build a shed. It reminded me of a Jim Gaffigan, an old Jim Gaffigan bit, where he would. You ever wonder about Jesus's years as a carpenter? And he's like, "I'm the son of God," and they're like, "Well, right now you're building the shed, so hop to it, Jesus." But the comfortable piece, one of my favorite comics, Louis C.K., who I like to credit for not only sort of a renaissance to lift the art to a larger place, but one of the first to, as far as I can tell, work yourself up to 15 minutes in clubs. And eventually you get to a spot where you have an hour, record a special, throw that material away, never to be used ever again. Start over.
Yeah.
He recently wrote a book and was making all the podcast rounds to talk about the book. And he was talking about this new thing that he does where he's sort of throwing away the cadence of an hour, which is, some intro and jokes, and then you start having larger bits, and you're having callbacks to bits you've talked about earlier in the hour. And in that cadence there, it's like joke, laughter is the response. And then you have another chunk of a bit where there's several jokes in there, so you get small laughs and they build up to a big laugh. And talking about throwing that away and trying to find a place where you make the crowd uncomfortable, and kind of it's not a laugh, it's not a roaring, everybody applauding kind of thing. It's them going, I don't know exactly what to do with that, and staying in there and working through it and finding the laughter on the other end of it instead of having a formula. And I just find that fascinating because, like, I have a little corner of my mind where I'm like, I could do stand-up.
Yeah.
But I know the second they would call my name to come out there, I'd be like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Terrifying,
Yeah. Yeah.
But to, like, really lean into that as a thing of uncomfortable and we're going to get through this together. It's just fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to survive it.
Right.
You're going to survive being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think our brains are so conditioned biologically, to fit in. If you didn't fit in when our primeval brains were, just starting to form, you got outcast and eaten by a fucking lion.
Yeah.
There is that aspect
A lion.
that is like, for real, or like died by the elements.
Yeah.
Because you're just a defenseless little meat
That's why
stick.
I don't camp in Kansas, because of all the lions.
It is a contentious topic. It really is. But the idea of getting past the discomfort and becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable is ultimately a skill that is beneficial across the board for emotional health, creative health, mental health. Generally, I think just kind of finding significance in your life. because you're training your nervous system that when it has that reaction, that fuck, like I'm so uncomfortable, I should fill this in, I should pander. If you can just wait on that precipice and you teach your nervous system that you're not going to get attacked and eaten by a lion or thrown off a cliff,
Right.
you know, then it starts to become more comfortable, and you start to become more comfortable, and you start to be able to face more challenges, greater discomforts. And I think that's kind of for me, has been the excitement of this journey, you know, flying at light speed, 110%, because somehow inadvertently I trained myself to be very comfortable with being uncomfortable. It doesn't mean you don't get uncomfortable. It just means that you're able to handle it and move through it.
A couple of years ago, I don't actually know when, I might just be making that up, but somebody was speaking to this idea of conversation and presenting, and this need that we imposed on ourselves in, say, the podcast, wherever, to like, if you're not speaking every last little second and I'm not speaking and there's silence, we have to fill it with and all these weird little noises. And I heard that and I go, why is that resonating? And I go, oh yeah, because pandemic happened and the world as we know it, in my situation, corporate America shuts down. And but we have so many employees and so much invested in blah blah blah. So we got to fill these folks' days with virtual trainings and Zoom meetings. And so all of a sudden it's like you have whatever role up here. This a big piece of this is going to be on you. So all of a sudden you have a person like presenting to hundreds of people, and it was not only person X, it's person B, D, all of them overwhelmed with this. I can't have any silence in my Zoom presentation. And that's actually weird.
Yeah.
Because our brains don't work like that. Organic conversation doesn't work like that. And so it's funny how the brain works, basically.
Yeah, I think that applies to so much. It applies to art, it applies to music, because to your point, the presenter in the position of saying, I can't have any negative space in this presentation, they're at the wrong angle. They're giving the presentation for themselves.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
Don't you ever listen to reggae, dude?
You're gonna sit there and fucking talk to yourself, man? If you're giving it for other people, if you're giving to other people, you're giving a presentation, then the goal is to give people space to think and process what you're saying, so you can have a collaborative environment, right? Where it's like, I'm going to give you a minute to think about that, and I'm going to step back and let the air settle instead of sucking all the air out of the room by plowing forward. And I think that is a consistent practice. I don't know if it matters how long you've been presenting, how great you are at presenting, how big of a crowd you've presented in front of, performed in front of, shown your work in front of, created for, created with. It is a consistent practice because our brain does want to plow ahead.
But it's so weird. Like if you're in that to teach, there's zero space or consideration for the note takers. Mm-hmm. The people that actually want to learn. You know, a lot of people on the other end of a Zoom call are like, "Fucking wrap it up," or you're texting and hopefully it's not somebody else on the call. And hopefully, anyway. When I sit, I'm like Cassandra Jones, and the date and shit's underlined, and and then if the material is, I've got a format, I'm gonna have some indentations and then a couple asterisks and arrows and blah blah blah. If the info's coming too fast, that goes out the window.
Yeah.
And penmanship is right behind it.
Yeah.
So by the time you're done, I look and I go, I don't fucking know any of the things that I wrote.
Exactly. You haven't been able to extract any value
Right.
out of it. What's the fucking point of giving a presentation that doesn't offer any value? Like, how dare you? How dare you? You're using my life, my time,
Yeah.
and all of these people's time, your own time.
Yeah.
I think that there is this, you know, justice to be done when you're asked to do that. Even if it is corporate America and they're like, hey, go get these people to fuck off for an hour by talking about PowerPoint. Go and give the best presentation go offer value. Don't even make it about PowerPoint. Make it adjacent to PowerPoint.
Right.
You know what PowerPoint is great for? Giving great presentations. And here today, we're going to talk about how to give a great presentation. You can go to fucking YouTube and learn PowerPoint.
Right.
If you want to make it something interesting, make it interesting. Life is interesting if you're interested, and people will be interested if you are interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So the pitch gig
It rocked. Yeah.
but it ended at some point.
It did.
And-
It did.
and-
Yeah. I got recruited by the company that I'm currently at.
Okay. So
yeah.
I don't want to put any of the company stuff out there if it's better that we don't.
Yeah.
I just ignorantly leapt to the conclusion that CastJonesCreative.com, you're like, I'm out. I'm gonna go do the thing all on my own.
No.
And I work for me and
Yeah.
I'm making it happen.
That's hilarious.
But you are still employed by somebody else.
Totally.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I did Cass Jones Creative independently before the pitch.
Okay.
Cass Jones Creative has been my studio since I graduated college.
Okay.
And it was the leverage that got me into the pitch. That was the portfolio that got me into the pitch.
Right. Okay.
And the pitch provided a platform for me to launch into what I'm currently doing.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, they all kind of feed into each other, and that website is really kind of my portfolio site,
Gotcha.
where I show my professional work. And really, what I've been spending a lot of time on right now is a project called Motel Venus.
This sounds intriguing.
Has been a blast.
This is a you thing.
This is a me thing.
Okay.
This is a me thing. So my job, I don't want to speak too much on my job.
Yeah. No.
I do brand strategy, behavioral science, and design, and I work with 4 incredible designers. I have the great privilege of leading 4 designers, and we have a lot of fun. It is a very professional job that provides me with a lot intellectually. It's very fulfilling. But in my personal practice, I've been working my fucking ass off at this job because I care a lot about it, and 110% thing, you know. So recently I've reached this impasse where I really reopened the gates that were so wide open at the pitch. I was so inspired there. I was able to create universes. I was supported in that. It was encouraged, you know, to be this wild, mad scientist. And it really cemented something in my soul, you know, really reawoke something and gave me a lot of confidence in that. In a way that I think will kind of perpetuate forever. So what that looks like now as someone who works a professional job, and, you know, at that job, what I'm doing really beyond brand strategy is what I do, but why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I push so hard and work so hard at that job is because I have an opportunity to develop a platform for designers and creatives to have a, not just stable lifestyle, which is so rare in the arts.
Yeah.
But
That's why I was like, shit.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. And really, because I love to learn and because I was kind of developing this practice in the background while I was working at the pitch, I wanted to be the best fucking art director I could possibly be. So I read every book I could on art direction, on running in-house design, on, God, you name it, but how to implement brand strategy, how to work with difficult contractors and freelancers, everything. I wanted to have all the skills.
You could stay dialed in a book on
Oh,
topics like that.
I read technical manuals like that for fun, dude. I love it.
Weirdo.
I know, I know. I just love to learn, and I think, again, I think life is interesting if you're
I'm just
interested.
messing with you,
So I was fucking so interested in becoming the best at it, and through that developed these skills to where I'm at this company now, and I have the opportunity to help the design department in this corporate arena transition from a reactive service department, which is the traditional model of design in, we'll call it a blanket statement for corporate America, a reactive service department where it's like, you make this. Design is a core fucking business competency. Like, design is it's everything that you touch, everything that you see, especially in a capitalist society. Every single thing has been touched by design. Everything functions because of design. So treating it as a reactive service department is a massive mistake. There's so much value to be had in bringing creative problem solving, creative thinking to the table, bringing design in as a strategic partner, really elevating it, bringing dignity to the position, to the designers, to creative thinking, to a world that traditionally does not look at creativity or design as a valuable business skill.
You said dignity. That's immediately where I went. Where does that happen?
Totally. So this company that I'm at has been, I've been relentless and obnoxious about it in a way that a branding person would, telling the same consistent story with the same consistent message over and over and over and over and over. And there's buy-in, and it's happening, and we're getting traction. And I love that.
Yeah.
But my job cannot be my life. My job, I can love it and I can be passionate about it and I can fucking care so much about creating that platform and elevating design and elevating designers and creating that space. But that's not who I am. That's not my identity. It's what I do, and I'm pretty damn good at it. But what I love is, what I live is art and creativity and universe building. In the weird, in the weird realm, not in like this buttoned up, like, corporate world, in the weird world where Motel Venus is kind of coming to life. And that's the current project I'm working on. That is everything. It's editorial photography. It's, I don't want to, it's launching July 15th. So
Okay.
it will be
On the internet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm launching a website and, creating things to share with people, creating a universe for people to experience. The Instagram is motelvenus.studio. The website is motelvenus.studio. Both of those things will be live July 15th. And that's what I've been working on. That's where I've been pouring the creative me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Got the story on how you connected with the Pitch folks initially. I'm so intrigued about this project. But I mean, a month from today, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
a month from today.
a month-ish.
Mm-hmm.
What was the you and your college bestie getting the gears fired up on what in spliffs?
Iced coffee.
Okay.
Iced coffee.
I used to sell to this chef who multiple times a day, and I think to start the day, espresso and a blunt.
Jesus.
And I told you how my relationship with THC down to same thing happened with coffee.
Yeah, really?
I started retching. And
my heart dropped. I'm like devastated for you.
well, it's great because I found my place, and so it was like, okay, I fought it for a while. And I was like, I'm going to collapse. Like if you,
Yeah.
so and I was always whole bean grind fresh every morning.
Totally.
So I went to half calf, and I'm buying a whole
Yeah.
bean decaf and I'm dumping them in a mixing bowl and and grinding fresh every morning, and it worked for a good little while.
All right.
Until it didn't, and so I went straight decaf, whole bean, ground fresh every day,
Yeah.
and that's where I've been for years.
Yeah.
Years. And if I really the only place I run into a pickle is if I travel and I'm staying with somebody. I'm not gonna not have coffee in the morning, but
Yeah.
if I'm not prepared to bring my own, and I just am left, I'm telling you, just your average old ceramic or whatever
Yeah.
mug, half of it, and I am an absolute mess.
Zooted. Dude, we had the opposite journey.
So, but this
You're drinking a Red Bull.
zero. It's my second one. Zero problems. Zero problems. But a cup of regularly caffeinated coffee
Yeah.
in the morning will wreck my inner workings.
You get like anxiety or what?
I retch.
You retch?
You get this burn coming up.
Oh my God.
Like, I mean, I'm telling you, and I can sit there, the minute that, usually like the second sip, I can feel it start to kick in. So I put on this show
Yeah.
to like hide the symptoms from you. Like my eyes will start watering, and the little wretch,
Dude.
like I can be like,
Yeah.
but eventually the full blown, and
You're heaving.
I'll be like, "Ugh," and they're like, oh my God.
How much fucking coffee did you drink, dude? Like, what did you do to your body?
No.
No.
I'm telling you, when I was a regular coffee drinking person, 2 mugs, and I'm coffeeed up for the day.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest in an afternoon coffee or evening coffee.
No.
This is before coffee got huge and we're drinking iced blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. But I sold to this dude. They would get paid every other Thursday, and he would immediately take his check, go cash it, and then go buy a little bit of gold. and then the next paycheck he would go buy a little bit of silver.
Yeah.
And he'd come back, and he was in these little packages and you tear it out. I'm telling you, man, it's blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. But I could never, and still can't, wrap my head around, like, he would leave the kitchen and go out to the parking lot and sit in his car and smoke a blunt and have an espresso.
Wow.
And I'm like, the cops would find me. The cops would be like, why is this person dead in this car? Like, there's no.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going, if you eliminate both of those things, aren't we on the same plane?
Dude,
Because you're going.
yeah, some people can live and work that way. I am very sensitive to substance. I was not able to drink a full cup of coffee until like 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It would be half a cup and I would be like anxiety, like all fucked up. And I drank it every day. I still drank it every day. But it would fuck me up. And if I smoke weed and coffee at the same time, it would fuck me the fuck up. For some reason, this magical summer, when I was drinking, it was iced coffee, a splash of chai, and dark chocolate almond milk.
Wow.
That
sounds delicious.
It was really good. There was a coffee shop up the street from me that my other best friend worked at, and the three of us are still best friends. We would go up and get coffee from him, and that was our special drink. Something about that chemistry, and then the spliff that my bestie would roll. Just incredible spliff roller. I mean, impeccable spliff rolling skills. It was just the perfect balance. And I had a sculpture apprenticeship that summer.
Oh.
So I would smoke a spliff and get zooted on iced coffee and then go work power tools and like weld and shit for like 6 hours. We were making sculptures.
Are you in flip-flops? Don't worry about
Dude,
it, man. I
was in the zone. I was in the zone. We were making sculptures for the Federal Reserve.
Oh, wow.
it was great. I was by myself in the studio most of the time. It was like an apprenticeship where he was like, yeah, do this. Like, here's the things you need to do today. And then he would kind of disappear. Anyway, it was, that's the only summer I've ever been able to tolerate living like that.
Wow.
If I try to smoke weed and drink coffee and go to work, they would put me in a loony bin.
Yeah.
There's no way.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Or I would have to remove myself.
Yeah.
From the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to remove myself from the situation. Because I would be so insecure about the way I was showing up. Just like, do I sound insane? And yes. Like, if you're asking if you sound insane, chances are, the call's coming from inside the house. Like, you got it. Yeah.
So I think you mentioned, are born and raised here. Mm-hmm. And we talked siblings. You're the baby.
Yeah.
Do you know how mom and dad's paths crossed initially?
I do. I do. Yeah. My parents grew up in Raytown.
Okay.
And my dad is, I think, 4 or 5 years older than my mom.
Okay.
And the initial lore is that my dad was at his friend's house who had a sister that was my mom's age. And my dad was hanging out. My dad always had, like, cool cars. My dad grew up super poor, but he would buy shitty beaters and fix them up. And that's why he got so good at fixing cars and stuff. You know, his dad was a mechanic at the Bendix factory. So he had the tools, he had the skills anyway. So he had this cool car. And he's sitting in the driveway waiting for his friend to come out. And my mom's coming up to the same house to go hang out with her friend. Mm. And she sees this cute guy in the driveway in his cool car. And she starts, talking to him, chatting him up, flirting with him. And eventually my dad was like, wait a minute. He's like, who are you here to see? She was like, oh, I'm here to see Candy. And he was like, how old are you? And he was like, 14. And at this point, he's 18 to 19. It's unclear. And he was just like, holy shit, and like peeled out of the driveway, left her there. Years later, my dad and my mom's older sister, they go to the same college. And my mom goes out to visit her older sister at college, runs into my dad at a party. My mom is 18 or 19 at this point. And she's like, oh, I remember you. You're the guy.
Private peel out?
Yeah, who peeled out of the driveway. And the rest is history.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they putting on music to listen to in the home when you guys were little?
Totally. Yeah. One of the first purchases my parents made when they got their adult jobs out of college, pre-kids, was a really sick stereo system. A really, really cool record player. It is. We still have it. It's at the lake. And yeah, they would play vinyl a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When we were cleaning and, or if we were, my mom was cooking, she'd put on vinyl, and we still do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I struggle to think of a purchase that matches. I come back to KC in 2000, and I saw mine on the other side of that wall, but I marched my ass as soon as I could up to Radio Shack and got myself a dual cassette 5-disc changer with a record player and 2 big old speakers.
Yeah.
And put that thing together, and I was like, I don't know that I'll ever summit the adulthood to where you go, all right, but this is gonna suffice for me.
I've made it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've really made it. Yeah, 100%.
So what kind of things were you hearing as a young kiddo?
My mom and my dad have very different music taste, which is cool.
It's way cool. Most of the time, there's a huge memory from one parent, and it sort of feels like accurate or otherwise that the other parent just kind of rolled with it.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah. My dad kind of teases my mom about her music taste still. She really liked like 80s, like girl hair bands,
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I almost said Team Dad before you said it because I had a feeling.
Yeah. So we would poke fun at that. My dad has a pretty classic music taste. The one that they do have in common was Pink Floyd.
Okay.
They followed Pink Floyd in college for a little bit. And my dad had one T-shirt in college, and it was a Pink Floyd concert T-shirt. And he still has it. He keeps it in a secret box somewhere.
Secret.
Well, at one point he had 3 teenage girls and a 70s Floyd band T-shirt. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, come on. Like, he had 3 hipsters in the house. He had to lock that shit up.
I thought because mom was trying to throw it out.
No, because we were trying to steal it and wear it.
That's awesome.
So the Floyd was one that they had in common for sure. My dad's music taste was pretty classic, really. We listened to a lot of stuff. I think he is where I got my love for the spectrum of music, because he never really stuck to one genre.
Cool.
Beach Boys' Endless Summer was one of my favorites, not only just for like the feel good surf rock, but because the album art was so cool.
Hell yeah.
And that really, more so than listening to the music with them, for me, the core memories are digging through the albums and looking at the art. It had such an impact on my personal art practice.
One of the reasons I do this.
Yeah.
Is the notion of not just the album, but the physical media.
Yeah.
And the smell of like
Dude.
Getting a record, a CD, a tape, a fresh purchase out of the cellophane, just, like a creep, like it's a chemically,
totally.
but always a little unique from.
You want it, you crave it, yeah.
And then
and the terror of like the paper sleeve cracking on a record, like you're the one that tore it, like that shit.
It's never this; it's always this.
It's this,
going
or
back
it would
in.
be you're like winding it around, trying to shove it back in. Yeah, the album art is what sticks with me the most. Endless Summer, Beach Boys was just this psychedelic, beautiful. I loved it. I ended up putting it on my wall as a teenager. I wasn't a huge Santana music fan, but they had this album that was blue foil butterflies.
Moonflower?
I think it might be Moonflower. That album was
shame on you for not loving that record.
I'm sorry.
It's gorgeous.
I just never really got like.
It's very like.
It's groovy and it's fun, but
wind and chimes and
there was kind of this element of I wanted it to be more chill. I think that the tension that it held was a little too advanced for where I was at the time.
Fair.
Yeah. I wanted something a little bit easier.
You should have put it on that magical summer with your
totally
chai and your.
Totally. We were listening to fucking Fleet Foxes.
Oh boy.
Mykonos on vinyl that entire summer.
Okay.
Literally over and over, like psychopaths.
Wow.
Like, yeah, that is the magical soundtrack to that summer.
Okay.
But the blue foil Butterfly Santana album was to me like this mythical, magical. It was so cool.
Santana really, it's something to be said, and especially coming out of the 70s, because it's just guitar. Mm-hmm. But to have the dexterity, the talent, the chops, and your own unique tone and style, finding the tone and the style were huge. Santana had that. He had his own flair, but he also had layers of percussion that nobody else was doing in rock and classic rock, and some real dope keys to just make this. You're not getting this anywhere from anybody else. This is fucking Santana.
And that's the beauty, I think, of what makes artists like that kind of cemented in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Is there's really no pandering. They're making something that they like. Period. And if other people
if you guys like it too, cool.
That's great. But that I think is, for creatives in general, probably the best practice you could ever do.
Right.
Is just remove pandering completely. And branding too. Like, this is still something that's so relevant to all creative practices. It's not about pandering to an audience. It's about being distinct. And there's nothing more distinct than being yourself. There's nothing more distinct than making what you fuck with, what you love, what represents you.
Yeah.
Like, that is the coolest shit you can do. And people will fuck with it. And if they don't, who gives a single solitary fuck?
Right.
Like, you're making art. You're creating with the universe, creating something for you, not for other people. Because when you're creating what you predict other people might like, it's just like presenting to them without adding value. You're not really adding value. You're just trying to predict what they want. And it's people can feel that. It's not like an authentic collaborative experience, which is the beauty of creativity and art and music, you know.
I really love the rarity of somebody presenting with PowerPoint and they hardly refer to it.
Yeah.
They have all the information up here and just, like in that one graph, and you're like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that was up there because I was so intrigued by you and the way that you're speaking, and speaking with heart usually is what's going on when that's happening. So here's the stuff that mom and dad are putting on to listen to in the home when you guys are young. Over here, you shared a list with me.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in it just yet. I love the phenomenon because, like, my dad had a, mini briefcase full of 8 tracks.
Nice.
And it was a lot of Oak Ridge Boys and John Denver and a Muppet one and a Sesame Street one for when we were in the car. My mom had a very, very small collection of records. Mostly she was a radio gal. But it's like, this is music. This is filling all of my, voids or capacitors for music in the world. And then one day you come across something on your own.
Yeah.
Whether it's, if you're of the age of downloading from LimeWire or Napster or going to the record store with your own money for the first time or dubbing a tape or something from a buddy, is there an album that isn't that and isn't that, but your first light bulb?
Totally. I mean, I had a lot of guidance to feed off of with having 2 older sisters.
Yeah, I meant to ask if the 3 of y'all's taste was different.
It was. And, my dad was primarily the one driving us to school, and he would play Cake and Offspring and or sometimes it would be Roger Miller, like there was always this kind of, he's cool, man. He's just fucking cool and was real, and there was no Radio Disney at our house. And my oldest sister was really into like the girly pop, like Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears. Yeah. My middle sister was much more like tomboy. She was very into like, God, if we're going back to when we were kids, Blink 182,
Okay.
We were listening to Third Eye Blind together, some metal. She always had the best metal that she would download off of. My middle sister was the criminal that would download shit on it. She was filling our computer with malware. I had no idea how to do it. She kind of left me in the innocence, but would be like, she would leave Windows Media Player open for me, which in hindsight is so thoughtful and so sweet. She would leave Windows Media Player open for me on our desktop and say, listen to this playlist today and like learn these band names because these are cool. That's what's cool.
Rad.
It was fucking great. She loved Fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever kind of phases she was going through, I would kind of, follow along and go through those phases too when I was young.
Yeah.
So Fish was a big one. We used to love singing Farmhouse together and we still make fun of it.
What?
We'll make fun of ourselves singing it,
Okay.
Welcome these days of Farmhouse. Sublime, when she was going through her hippie phase, we were listening to like Fish and Sublime, Grateful Dead.
Nice.
She would pick me up from school, like blasting Grateful Dead. She had a cassette player in her car that had a, like the little aux cord one.
Oh yeah.
And the only way to get it to play was if it had tension on it, because like the cassette player wasn't really like functional. And we figured out if you shoved this little rubber lizard down into the tape player while the tape was in there, it created the perfect tension to keep the tape playing. So she would roll up in this fucking like 93 Saturn station wagon lowrider that had the seat belts that were like that, like, that went on the track.
Yeah.
She would blast up to Hawker Grove Middle School, stoned off her ass to pick me up, and blasting Fish or Grateful Dead, just being a goofy, hippie kid, kind of burnout. And I wasn't embarrassed. I thought it was so cool. I just thought she was the coolest.
We're at Hawker Grove. My boy plays basketball year round. We're at Hawker Grove often.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we hit all the stops.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever close.
No.
To us here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, Hawker. Yeah. So, kind of that background with her. She probably had the biggest influence on my music.
Okay.
And in middle school was when I started to kind of find my own.
There you go.
And it was through MySpace.
Wow.
It was through which was kind of like this brand new world then. Social media was just being born.
Oh yeah.
And MySpace, emo bands started popping up.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. I was into it. For me, probably the most influential one was Panic at the Disco. I was fucking obsessed with Panic at the Disco. It was my first show ever. It was at the Uptown. I was 13 years old. It was so fun. It was Harlequin themed. My middle sister was just talking about was a Red Bull rep. But not the like skanky kind and a tube top. She was like the chiller stoner in like a polo, who would go to the skate park.
Or a flannel.
Or a fucking flannel, like just great. She was working that show. I was out in the audience.
I can't hear or read that outfit's name.
Yeah.
Without putting the exclamation point where they put it.
Yeah.
Panic! At the disco.
At the disco.
What are we doing?
Panic at the Disco. Listen, I loved them. I still love them.
Sure. Yeah.
It was such a good, for me, that was like kind of my, going into the emo scene kid arena was my way to kind of claim my individuality.
It's so, Aguilera, Spears, hippie, emo, like I have this theory that, I suppose maybe it's more so this direction with boys, but if there's a bunch of brothers in the house, it seems like the second child winds up listening to heavier shit than the first child, and so on and so forth. And I don't know that it's necessarily that cut and dry with boys and girls, but music, identity, so on and so forth. It's like, even in an amazing home where mom and dad are both there and they love each other, we're all getting our needs met. Now birth order shuffles things a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there had to be the buddy fishing stuff with dad and being silent. There had to be a part of him that was like, this is my last baby.
Oh yeah.
Like never again will and I wish I would have done whatever differently with kid too. I mean,
yeah.
I have that shit. Like, I'll go down a rabbit hole if I don't stop myself there. But it's very fascinating that we could be three sisters that are best friends and worst enemies, and all the things are good, but darn it if we're not going to be ourselves.
Yeah, we were very different. The thing we all share is our sense of humor.
Oh, cool.
Otherwise, we're all very much
Your sisters are
own
funny
people.
too?
They're fucking hilarious. My whole family is, dude. We're not a very lovey-dovey family.
Fair.
We didn't like hug each other. It wasn't like, I love you. If I said that to my sisters, they would kick my fucking ass. Like there was no they would be like, get away from me. Like you're disgusting. Go away. I was younger enough than them that it was that was not the vibe in our family. But we call it the Jones family roast. And that's how we connect. And if you can get a chortle out of the family, when I was a kid, if I could get a chuckle, especially because I was the youngest, the dopamine hit was out of this astronomical.
That's
Never
awesome.
again. Like it was, yeah, that is how we all connect is through our sense of humor.
I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Panic at the Disco, do you get, is
Yeah.
it digital? Do you...
I'm just playing it over and over off of their MySpace.
Oh, right.
Yeah, for a long time. Their MySpace.
I think MySpace, and it's like, are you in my top 5 friends? And what song do you have
What
playing
song do
when
you...
open my
I was
page?
learning CSS coding as a 13-year-old. Like, how to design and code a website to make my MySpace. Like, I didn't know that's what I was learning, but that is what the skill you're learning to customize your MySpace page. And I went fucking nuts on that. I loved it. And so there was like this kind of MySpace. It was a very fragmented, like I had this MySpace kind of emo exploration, but I still loved Cake and I loved the Beatles and I loved Johnny Cash and fucking loved Dolly Parton.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But I had this other element that was, because everybody loves that, and I was really trying to suss out, like, who am I? What is my identity? Where do I stand? And at age 13 in my life is when things got complicated. Life got real. There started to be some experiences in my life that were challenging and not familiar to most 13-year-olds.
Oh.
And, dealing with being close to someone who struggles with addiction and really starting to see how that affects people. Without going into too much detail or airing too much dirty laundry, it was a time where I was really seeking out identity and really seeking out a place of stability and worthiness, like trying to understand something that a child's mind really can't. And music and identity were a huge part of that, and creativity and art. So I think this Panic at the Disco, this emo scene, it was a social way for me to relate with people who, may have been also struggling with their identity or with things in their life that maybe weren't familiar to the mainstream.
Sure.
And it started to become clear to me that was important to me. That kind of subculture is where I felt safe and comfortable. I got bullied a lot by the normal kids. Yeah, I got bullied a lot. I dealt with it with humor. So there was never this like cower in a corner and be sad kind of, I got bullied, but I got picked on a lot.
In front of your peers?
In front of my peers, yeah. There was a group of boys who just hated that I was confident in myself, just hated that I was myself. I was a tomboy, wore my hair in a slick back ponytail, I wore basketball shorts, and generally just didn't give a fuck what people thought about me on the outside, right? That was the mask.
Is there no, like, they're doing that because they have a crush?
No.
This is a different animal.
This was a different animal. This was, I was an awkward kid. I was not putting in an effort to be like a feminine presenting person. I was just a kid. I stayed a kid through middle school. I didn't really present in that way for like multiple reasons. But yeah, it was just kind of, I wore hoodies and basketball shorts and wore my hair in a ponytail, and I was chill as fuck. So they would try to bully me, and it didn't really land. Eventually they, like, the summer after middle school, I got really hot. and they stopped bothering me. But in middle school, there was this battle with this particular group of boys, and it was relentless. It was at school, it was on instant messenger. I would go home and they were saying shit like, you should kill yourself, like,
Ew.
you're a dyke, no one will ever love you, you're this, you're that. So there
and
was
2 summers later they're like, do you want to fuck?
Yeah, totally. Yes. And I was like,
I was just fucking around.
yeah, I was like, but you gotta be nice to everybody, man. Like,
I didn't have my sarcasm fun.
I'm not gonna shit on you, but like, you just, yeah. So middle school was a time,
Okay.
where I'm trying to find my identity. I'm dealing with this kind of turmoil at home. I'm dealing with this turmoil at school.
Gosh.
Really just trying to find it,
Those are all the places too. There aren't many other places.
There was nowhere else to go. I
I
mean,
mean,
we had moved. I was at a new school.
Oh, really?
I didn't know anybody.
Really?
Yeah, I moved in. I had gone to the same school, K through 5, and then we moved when I was in 6th grade. So I just met this new group of people who started fucking bullying me the year before. I had tons of, like, K through 5 was like, great. I was set up, dude. I was set up. I was class clown. I was having a great time. Go to this new school, fresh slate, got to start over ground zero. And it was rough. It was rocky. So, I had this kind of like identity crisis, midlife crisis at age 13, like really trying to figure out how to navigate this tension of, my family, to your point, my family wants me to stay the baby. Oh. I want to grow. There's this other complicated darkness I don't really understand yet, but it's impacting my daily life. And there's this bullying happening, but I'm fitting in with these people. So there was a lot of this kind of...
Anybody got a compass?
Yeah, I was like, I gotta fucking zoom out, I guess, I don't know.
Jeez.
So music was a big one, and I think the emo kid scene was a place for me, maybe not particularly... I really fuck with this music, where it was like, I really fuck with this culture.
Yeah.
And these people seem to really fuck with me and understand me and accept me. And also,
the tension from the places probably goes away for a minute.
Yeah, there was this kind of expression happening that I related to. I really liked MySpace metal, Bring Me the Horizon. I'll still listen to Bring Me the Horizon sometimes. Devil Wears Prada. There were a lot of places and nooks and crannies to explore on MySpace. I didn't really socialize on MySpace. I didn't talk to people. I pretty much primarily used it for music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of one of the legs it was meant to stand on coming out of the gate.
If you had a band, you were on MySpace.
Yep.
And that was going into transitioning from middle school to high school, going to hang out at the coffee shops, like freshman year, meeting people in bands and looking them up on MySpace and, being able to kind of connect that way. I'm still friends with some of those people,
So did you wind up at Northwest?
I did. I went to Northwest, which was a convergence of the school that I had gone to K through 5 and now this new group of people that I had known 6 through 8.
Oh, what funny.
Yeah. So then I went in and I had like double friends because I knew everybody. And then at high school it was a fucking breeze,
Wow.
Socially, it was fine. I was very reserved and closed up. I didn't hang out with people a lot because I was still dealing with a lot at home. And just a lot of processing of like adult level situations, that I couldn't understand. I just didn't understand addiction or like how it impacted people at that time or how it could impact a structure of a family. And so I was very outwardly very social and very extroverted and like sunshiny and friendly and creative and, me. But at home, I really was like, this like philosophical, cerebral, introspective person. And I didn't really have the kind of home that I could really bring people to. Because there was that tension, so I would spend a lot of time out of the house hanging out. And anyway, there was a lot of attention there was a lot of tension through that. But music for me through that time was really, really important. It was, I would stay up till 4 a.m. painting or, listening to music or making art. And, yeah, looking back at it, there was a lot of just identity exploration. I listened to a lot of Frank Sinatra. I was like very into this one Frank Sinatra album.
Which one?
I think it was just a best of Frank Sinatra CD that I got at like a 99-cent store or some shit, like right out of the 99-cent bin. And I listened to a lot of burned CDs that my friends would make me that would have so much cool shit. That's how I found most of the cool music, is that was kind of a love language, as people would burn CDs for each other. And I just had this whole portfolio of burned CDs in my car, full of a spectrum of everything, rap, hip hop, I don't know what you would call it, folk. Like the Decemberists were pretty big back then, emo, metal, funk. I love funk, soul, R&B, like anything and everything. I really didn't discriminate as far as like what I would listen to, and I think that's still true.
Wow.
Yeah, really about the experience.
I went to, I think, 6 elementary schools.
Damn.
Just one, pretty much one for every year.
Yeah.
And so it was K through 6, and then 7, 8, and then 9 through 12. But 6, PV House with the Leaves, I'm like, okay, I feel like we're putting some roots down here and not going to move.
Yeah.
But then that year's over and everybody moves to a new school. And so it's kind of like, all right, at least we're all going.
Yeah.
And that was this weird, like, perpetual dance of I'm always the fucking new kid.
Dude.
Everywhere I go. And, you don't want to be a loner, but you don't want to stand out. And it's kind of like, where's the middle of all of it? I don't know. Anyway.
What, do you feel like it gave you, like, skills as an adult?
I don't know. It gave me the ability to ask strangers to come sit in my basement and bullshit with me for hours on end.
I guess that's true. It made you open to new people. Yeah, that's cool.
Which, by the way, you twice. Folks sometimes ask this. Nobody has ever asked 2 times. What made you... Like, you were really curious about the why me piece. And I was like, and I've talked about this on here before, but like hospitality industry, friends, family got me off the ground, and then I had somebody a recommendation, a kid that cooked for me was like, you should have this other dude on, and I had him on. He had an online radio show, and we rapped, and he's like, do you want to put this on the radio station? And I was like, well, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And the first episode aired on that, and like the next day I had like 15 new Instagram followers. They were all people in bands.
Cool.
So it kind of just really spilled into this musician lane for a little bit. But it's like I've had professors, photographer, like it's not just bands, and but I mean, most of all of it has been DMing total strangers and being like, hi, you want to, and it's such a wide variety, a lot of just you never hear from any, and that makes sense,
Totally.
right? Sometimes people are like, yeah, let's do it, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a weird kind of middle ground where people will like engage in all of this communication and then eventually drift.
Yeah.
Never to be heard from again. And you kind of just got to let them go.
Totally.
Every once in a while, if I really come across a thing, I like, oh, I feel like this person definitely was interested. I'll hit him up one more time.
Yeah.
But it's all of the outreach is real ebbs and flows. And I found myself a number of times, in fact, just recently, I made a list Well, yeah, okay. How did I come across this person to reach out to?
Yeah.
Because I would have the dates full for months and I don't need to worry about outreach.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I have nobody for next week. I'm not going to be an episode.
Yeah.
And then I get in there and I hammer the outreach piece. I hit like 30 people up, and go to bed. And the next morning somebody's like, yeah, how did you come across me? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm literally...
Wow.
These are interview notes.
Jeez.
For this.
Yeah.
And, and so that happened enough to where I go, I should write it down. Who told me about you?
Just a little blurb.
Or if you were, people you may know,
Yeah.
social media, well, that person looks interesting.
Totally.
But yeah, you were twice. How'd you? And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Which is embarrassing. Cause...
Well, I wasn't, I'm a pretty, like I said, I'm pretty outwardly extroverted, but I'm really a pretty introverted person.
Funny.
So, it's not like I'm often getting hit up to be on podcasts, and especially a music podcast, because like my background is just kind of all over the fucking place, and I'm not really like.
Well, I have always loved music, and this has been, every bit of this has been ebbs and flows and pivots and adjustments, and finding out very early and often that people are like, I'm not a music person, and I go, no, this is not a contest, it's not a debate.
Yeah.
What I really want to know is, what's your story, man?
Yeah.
But I can't say, hey, you gonna come talk to me about you?
Yeah.
Like, I do want to talk about music, but I also want to know your story.
I think it's an amazing conduit to communicate with people. And really, as a person who was kind of like, I love music. I listen to all kinds of fucking music. But that is, if my best friend were to describe my music taste, they'd be like, it's all over the fucking place. It's
you ever heard of Jackson Pollock?
Yeah, like Viking metal this day and like classical this day and
Nice.
EDM that day. It's all over. So I think from the perspective of being invited to talk about it, I was like, I don't know what I don't really have any like specifics. I can't really like sit here and tell you I know everything about the Smiths, like some people do. And I have a lot of friends that are musicians, and I worked at the Replay for a while. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, I was very involved in the music scene.
Cool.
Hung out with a lot of bands and a lot of, had a friend who worked at Love Garden at the time, would hang out with Kelly at Love Garden, and we very involved.
Nice.
So I've been adjacent to it, was part of it. And when you invited me to do this, I wanted to check that you weren't expecting a guest to be like, let's talk about the depths of music and the details of these. I'm like, because I won't be able to fucking do that.
Yeah.
But it was internally, I was like, well, fuck it. Yeah, like, this is a great opportunity to just go be yourself. Like, you don't really have to curate it. It doesn't really matter. So I sent you my honest top 3.
Yeah.
But if you still want to do this after that, let me know.
Shane Gillis has a bit talking about who would be I don't know how he gets there. Who would be the worst to be like, to have your homeland attacked by?
Oh.
And he goes, Vikings, man. You see a Viking ship coming, that's going to be brutal, and they're going to murder some people and rape the women and so on. But then as they get closer and they raise up a gay pride flag, oh fuck, that's way worse. So you have at some point a light bulb of sorts to where you go, the arts is my jam.
Yeah, I started young.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that, and then also that real darn tricky piece of doing it for a living.
Yeah.
Like, those had to be two separate
I don't know. I just kind of
things,
always
right?
thought I would. It was what I was always great at, It's what I was praised for
Oh, really?
Starting at a young age. Yeah, it's what was really reinforced for me. Like my mom would point out, is a creative person. She was a graphic designer and put us in art classes and really fostered
Outside of school?
outside. Well, when we were like kids, pre being in school all day or like summertime,
Gotcha.
she would put us in art classes. And there was always there were always supplies accessible.
Cool.
And that was fostered a lot, and it was something that I felt was very reinforced with me as a kid. I think I was just kind of naturally very curious. I've always been a little bit of a mad scientist, a little messy, a little curious, getting into stuff. And yeah, the first praise I remember in my life, core memory, probably like 3. I was drawing at the table and I wrote the word kachoo from the Dr. Seuss book,
Yeah.
The Little Bug That Went Kachoo.
Okay.
And I was drawing a picture of a trucker, of like a truck driver. Yeah, like a truck driver.
Okay. All right.
And I was telling some story, and I was in the story out loud, probably just babbling to myself. And then he sneezed and he went kachoo, and my mom flipped her fucking lid. I thought I was in trouble at first, but she was like, "Oh my God, she wrote her first word. She wrote her word. She wrote her word." And I was drawing, and it was this huge moment of, I don't know, recognition in a pretty reserved household as far as affection goes,
Right.
And then in school, I kind of had like a similar repeated pattern where elementary school, my artwork was regularly selected to be put in shows, or put over at the high school, or it was just a very reinforced that it was something I was good at and it was something I loved. And for me, being a child, what I remember loving about art is the tactile nature of it, the feeling of the paint, the action of getting into the Play-Doh or the clay, the tangibility of building something and working with something. I did a lot of claymation.
Cool.
Stop animation with clay.
Oh, wow. You've seen Tool's Sober video?
No.
Undertow is their first, you know who Tool is.
Yeah.
Their first album, I think it's their first album. Undertow, there's a tune called Sober, and it's fucking intense. Like, Tool just showed up at the party and kicked everybody in the teeth, and they went, wow, that was cool. It's a really intense song, and it's a real creepy, can't look away, claymation, stop motion music video. It was on MTV and shit.
Oh, I remember this one. Yeah.
Beavis and
really
Butthead.
Scary.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, I do remember it.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally remember it. The guy rips his nose off.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that video very, very distinctly.
Yeah.
I got super into clay, like doing anything and everything, really. And that continued through school. And I wasn't like a great student. I just didn't really ever give a shit about school.
Okay.
I wasn't like a straight A valedictorian student. I would get the work done and like homework, schmomework, I would show up and get it done like at school that day. I didn't care. So I mean, I got A's and B's, probably
cool.
C's in math, but
that
art was where the interest always was.
Yeah. And call it what you want to call it, but I mean, like, junior year, at least when I was going through it, we're fucking looking at schools. Mm. And then you graduate and you've chosen a school if that's the route you're going, and then it's like, fucking, what's your major? And it's like, fuck, dude, I don't know, so much pressure to like choose and move and on to the next thing, and then if you wind up going to college and finishing college, it's like, well, now you're supposed to get a job and buy a house and get married and have kids, blah blah blah. And there's not, outsider looking in.
Mm.
There's not room for one to make a living in art if you are gonna follow that fucking thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, folks do it, but it's always like, oh shit, nice.
Yeah, you had to abandon the checklist. You
Okay.
had to truly commit yourself to the subculture. For me, it was I started school in KU's architecture program, in the master's program. My parents really wanted me to be an engineer. They thought I was really built for engineering. I love taking shit apart. I love putting it together. I'm very curious, very science minded. They had been sending me to like shadow engineers at K-State since I was in 8th grade. Just really were like, she has a propensity to be an engineer. She told me how many stories were in a building when she was 6 years old. Like, was just counting the number of fucking windows in a building, To me, that was like very simple
I don't know how to build the fire escapes. Fucking
logic. Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know about that. So I went into architecture because it was a combination. I wanted to go into art, but it was a combination of art and engineering in my mind. And I got in the master's program, was 5 years. Freshman year, I get there. And my experience in architecture was really the people I was learning about who had made these really creative buildings and really significant strides in architecture. Not a single fucking one of them was an architect. They're all just rich white dudes that like had enough money to build a crazy fucked up building that made history. And none of it was really, I was like, environmental architecture, sustainability, like contributing to the world. That feels good. And I looked at that and it was like, that is also an element of privilege and access that is not what this career is going to be. And what really fucking the last nail in the coffin was that we had a guest speaker come. It was a Polish guy. And I loved his presentation. It was really cool, really thoughtfully put together. It was about the history of modern architecture. And he was very honest and very upfront about none of the people that we were studying being architects, and spoke to the significance of that. So I went up to him after class and I thanked him for his presentation. And I was about to go into, why it was interesting and the value that I got out of it and try to have a conversation. And he was like, why are you even here? Like, if you're a woman and you're in architecture and you think you're going to get a job, no one can get a job. He's like, I hope you know somebody because you're not going to get a job. And I was just like,
You haven't seen my MySpace.
I just fucking imploded. I'm not even in a way that I was like broken, but in a way that was like, absolutely 100% fuck this shit. If that's the kind of person the school is paying to come here and speak to us and inspire young minds, and that's what he's carrying, I'm not fucking interested in this field. None. Those are the people in power that cements to me.
Wow.
That's what I'm seeing and observing from these slideshows that I'm learning from. It's not just a thing of the past. This is a current thing, and I'm fucking out. I'm done. Right. I'm good. So I switched to industrial design, which is, smaller scale. You're engineering more objects.
Okay.
And my intention was to design car interiors. I really had a vision for how to make them more ergonomic, how to make them more functional.
Make a leaky sunroof.
And fix your leaky sunroof. And in industrial design, I was enrolled in a ceramics class to learn more about 3D media. And I lasted a week in industrial design. As soon as I hit the ceramics lab and I touched clay and got into it and like met the community of people down there, I was like, nope, this is it. I'm home. I don't fucking know where this is going to go. I mean, I said this earlier. I don't know if I've ever not like known where I was going, but I have always loved where I've gotten.
Okay.
So I follow the journey. I trust the journey. and I did. I went, cool. I went through with the program and studied ceramics and sculpture and got a fine arts degree and a minor in psychology, and the rest is, history.
Yeah. We're in a little bit of an odd spot here because we've been at it for 3.5 hours, and I hit the
Oh my
record
God.
button like right away, and something has fritzed out in the past
Yeah.
when I've hit the 4 hour mark,
Yeah.
and once it fritzes, it's gone forever.
It's gonna cook.
So we have two sections to get through, and we got to move, or I'm afraid that we're
Let's
gonna
blaze.
lose.
Let's go for it.
Thank you for sharing a list with me. If it's okay, I just roll through them in release order.
Yeah.
Which puts us in 1993 with Ice Cube's Lethal Injection.
Yeah.
5 of 13 for him, including one from last year, which I did not know about. 12 tracks, 56 minutes, rap out of LA. But this is a first for Lethal Injection. Why does it earn the leadoff spot for you?
I think that it is one of the most important albums ever made.
Really?
I do. I really
Okay.
do. I think that
I mean, You Know How We Do It is one of the most important songs ever
you know how we
written.
do it,
Yeah.
down for whatever. One thing that ties back to what we were talking about earlier that I think is so important about art and music and creativity and sharing it that I find very interesting and I'm very compelled to explore is when people are using that platform and taking a great risk to tell the truth. And I really feel like this album does that in a way that was so risky for him and his career and his success at that time. And he didn't give a fuck. I think
Right.
that it is fucking gangster, you know, to tell the truth and just say, this is the truth and fuck you. You know, like they were trying to ban him on Capitol Hill. Like that it was him and multiple other groups, but really like Lethal Injection for me tells the truth in a way that isn't a full album of like I'm angry and fuck you. It's like this is the truth and fuck you. And there's some fun songs in there. There's Down for Whatever. You know, there's like which is my personal favorite. But You Know How We Do It. Like those
Yeah.
are mixed in, but there's also Ghetto Bird. Like the whole album if you listen to it through is a story of an experience of that's still very relevant in America that tells a story of the black population and what they were experiencing. It calls out systemic racism. It speaks directly to the people who they should be speaking to, who are responsible for it, and just pointing it out. Like, hey, this is what we're going through, and your presence here, it's not fuck the police so we can continue to commit crimes.
Right.
It's fuck the police because you're systemically fucking killing us. And here's an album that puts our experience to music, into words, that puts systemic racism into context. And it's ugly. And it's fucking hard to listen to at some points because it is so real and raw. And it really does tell the truth. And then there are these mixed in tracks where it's like, and also I'm down for whatever. Like I'm fucking fuck you, you're cool. Like it's that vibe. And I think it's one of the most, even the name Lethal Injection, I think embodies the message that he has. Like that album is a lethal injection.
For sure.
It could have been a lethal injection for his career, could have been a lethal injection for him. It's a lethal injection for the clandestine, undiscussed manner of systemic racism at that time in society. And I think so much of the experiences that he outlines are still relevant. And I don't feel like artists now are addressing it the way that he addressed it in that album.
I like that. And, you know, some of the things that he, to your point, is speaking on, like just the, for us on the outside looking in, the tiniest little layer of dust has only been removed at that point. Like fucking layers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another rabbit hole I would find myself stuck going down. But 1993, you know, so much shit is still buried.
Yeah.
In terms of the systemic injustices, and I like the way you said that, though. Whenever somebody sends me a list, it's a mixed bag, right? Of my react. Sometimes I'm like, I don't fucking know what any of this is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know all of it well, and I'm like, oh, this is okay. Sometimes it's like, oh, there's a thing I know. That was that for me.
Yeah.
Here, the other two, I was like, what?
Oh man.
So destroy all Astromen
So
by
good.
man or Astro-man? Question mark. From 1994. 8 studio releases. This is one of 4 compilations. 23 tracks in the neighborhood of 50 minutes. Not an easy digital find.
No.
But like I said, podcast first. Never heard of these guys. Tell me all that there is to know about this difficult to find digital album.
Man or Astro-man is my favorite band of all time.
For real?
For real, for real.
Okay.
My favorite band. And I didn't really find them until I was working at the Replay and I was involved in the music scene.
Oh wow.
And I found a lot of, okay, first off, all of these albums are things that I found through other media. Ice Cube Lethal Injection wasn't because I was looking and seeking out to like understand society. It was because Down for Whatever was on the soundtrack of Office Space.
Oh my god. Is it really?
Yeah, and I listened to it. I listened to that soundtrack as a child all the time, like starting at like age 10, blasting out while I was cleaning my room. Down for Whatever was just, I thought, the most gangster fucking song. And then I looked up the album and had the experience I did. Man or Astro-man came to me through, I love Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Ah.
And I would always loved it when I was a kid. The only thing I've ever tried to illegally download was every season of Mystery Science Theater. It said it was going to take 45 hours. And my friend at the time, I told him, I was like, I'm downloading all of Mystery Science Theater. It's going to take 40 hours. He was like, you need to stop that right now. Like, that is not correct. But I love them. And I looked up who wrote their theme song. Enter Man or Astro-man.
Wow. Okay.
They wrote the Mystery Science Theater theme song.
Okay.
And I started to kind of look more into it, and I brought it up at the Replay. And at the time, the Replay was still this amazing punk hub where all the old school punks were still hanging out. They were the regulars. They were the people I was like spending my day shifts with, the people I was working with at night, the people who were looking out for me. Were folks who had been involved in the music scene for a really long time, since the early 90s. And I brought up Man or Astro-man to some of those people. They talked about how they would roll through Lawrence and put on these crazy shows, these experiential shows.
These guys would?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very like sci-fi surf rock. They would wear costumes. They would have people on stage dressed like them and start playing the show, and then jump out of the audience and reveal it was like,
Wow.
lookalikes playing the show. Very experiential, universe creating. I feel so represented by Man or Astro-man. Destroy All Astro-men is my favorite album because I was friends with Kelly at Love Garden. I had told him that I loved Man or Astro-man, and it just so happened a few weeks later he got this album in on vinyl.
Oh wow.
Which is so rare.
Yeah.
Because they are a small group. They were never like, massively popular. They were well known within the kind of weird punk scene. Anyway, he sold that album to me for a very, very, very discounted price.
Nice.
And I still have it. It's my prized possession. Everything about the aesthetic, the universe creating, the immersion of sci-fi world with kind of psychedelic surf rock punk. The journey is representative, I feel, of many of the different overlaps of interests for me creatively, and I love them.
You keep listing a bunch of different genres, and there's a bunch of different genres associated with them. I was like, what the fuck is this going to be? Okay, we're starting surf. And then for me, it never, it's one listen, right? But it never varied from that. And I was very pleased because I could get down with some surf rock. I
Yeah.
really like, it's been a couple of blips
Yeah.
on the radar when it was popular,
Totally.
and then it goes away.
Yeah.
And it's like it's always fun to look back on, and so it was a fun listen for me.
Yeah. Sci-fi surf rock is their thing. They use a lot of samples from sci-fi, and I got to see them at Record Bar. They were touring really randomly, like 3 years ago.
Huh.
And I got tickets through the pitch. Brock got some tickets because he knows they're my favorite band. And I had an absolute fucking... not even on the bucket list. I didn't even know that they would ever play another show again. And it was everything I wanted and more. They wore spacesuits. They modded out their guitar with a fucking iPad. They destroyed the drums at the end. I got to wear the space
Jesus.
helmet. It was like... yeah, Nirvana for weirdos. I loved it.
And then a large leap to 2007 with the Death album by Death Lock.
Yeah.
First of 416 tracks, 52 minutes. Death metal virtual band with alleged roots in the U.S., Norway, and Sweden. Another podcast first. Completely unaware of their existence, but Adult Swim series Metalocalypse is where this outfit has been featured. The intersection of Cass Jones and Deathlock looks like what?
Yeah, Death Clock is incredible. They are a fictional band from the show Metalocalypse from Adult Swim, which is a show that's kind of poking fun at itself with metal. I love goofy metal. I think it's so funny when it's making fun of itself because it's just kind of this goofy genre anyway. But in a way, it makes fun of itself like by telling the truth. It's pointing out truths about either the perception of metal or like the culture of metalheads and making a joke out of it. And it's this very kind of like brutal, gory, like a dark humor. And I just fucking love the Death album by Death Clock. I've seen them twice now in Kansas City. They just played a show with them on a Marth at Midland.
Is it more than two people?
It's a full band.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a full band, and they play on the stage, and they play the Metalocalypse behind it. So like it's still the animated band, but they're playing it live.
Okay.
Very kind of like Gorillaz-esque, but metal, and has like this whole universe behind it. Every song on the Death album is fucking so good.
A lot of death.
It's so good. I lift weights like 4 or 5 times a week. I used to do powerlifting.
Okay.
Now I just do it because I love to do it and I love to be fit and strong.
Jacked?
Yeah.
You are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've been lifting now for 5 years.
Okay.
5 days a week.
Okay.
So I'm not jacked, but I would say I'm strong and healthy, and that's what I like about it. But
are you trying to be like, I have big fat giant muscles?
No, I don't really need to. I mean, it kind of shows like.
But like competition, that kind of.
Oh, like a bodybuilder?
Yeah. Is that what you're?
No.
Okay.
No. No, it's just athleticism. I've always been athletic.
Okay.
And it is so good for you to be strong and have muscle.
Absolutely.
Know? So as I age, I want to make sure I'm staying super healthy.
Yeah, resistance.
Yeah.
It makes your bones and everything
gives
stronger.
Me the ability to solo camp and live independently,
right.
Skateboard and
you skateboard too?
Yeah, I'll do anything and everything active. Right. So I like to be healthy and strong, so I can, if the opportunity presents itself,
go do it.
I can do it. Yeah. I know that I'm able to do it.
Very cool.
But Death Clock and the Death album went from being like a funny cartoon that I loved to an album I actually fucking love in the gym.
Oh, sure.
Because it's also hilarious to listen to in the gym because it's making fun of masculinity and and metal and it's just great.
Don't really ever lean heavy. So if somebody gives me 5, like there's all these genres that I didn't even know existed, like math.
Yeah.
and stoner, doom, all this
So
weird shit.
good.
It's all
Yeah.
different variations of metal.
Yeah.
So this was a refreshing treat, though, because uh, nothing really pushes me away faster than the kind of screaming vocals that make your vocal cords hurt as the listener.
Yeah.
And, sequences of power chords has never really been too terribly inventive to
Yeah.
me. But I like the lane that these guys are in. Like, I appreciate there's a uniqueness to the pitch of the vocals. It's not grating. Shit never seems to get like wildly out of control in a direction that I often associate with like anger,
Yeah.
or yeah, I was just able to be present, and it didn't make me want to tune out, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, there's this humor to it.
Yeah.
That's great. And like Thunder Horse is a fucking banger, dude. Face Fisted is hilarious. Like there is some anger to it. And some of their other albums have songs that are like aortic desecration and it's like about heartbreak, but it's
Funny.
hilarious
Yeah.
because it's through the lens of this cartoon character. And like this brutalism. So I like the grotesque. I like the grotesque interpretation of emotion that metal brings, and I play classical flute, and I have for 25 years. So I think that
25 years.
Yeah, I started when I was 10.
One of the strangest. I know there are lots and lots of strange words. One of the strangest words in the English language to me is flautist.
Flautist.
Why? Where did we get that A?
I don't know. It's terrible,
Like-
honestly. I've never referred to myself as I'm a flautist.
Immediately, I picture flautas, like we're gonna have fried Mexican
That
deliciousness.
sounds amazing. It sounds delicious. But the metal to me is really appealing because there is this kind of chromatic classical element to it that I love.
Yeah.
You know, that's been in my brain and vibrating through my bones and my body for so long that I think that there is something familiar to it. There's the subculture to it. I think it does kind of emulate and embody a lot of dimensions, a lot of the overlaps, you know?
Yeah. You called this a chaotic top 3. I very much enjoyed the combo. Why?
Why chaotic?
Like you were like if you still want to do it
Yeah,
after
like I don't know if you're into that. Well, I wasn't sure what the vibe was, but they cover different genres.
Sure. That's
Very
a good thing.
wildly different genres, I think. And I think they are a little. If you're not familiar with them, it could be difficult to connect the dots between them.
Part of there are numerous elements of joy to doing this for me. One of them is let me consume the thing, and sometimes I know the person. Most of the time, when I open that door, I've never met you before.
Right.
I'm neutral listen. It's only one listen, but it's a neutral listen, and then you connect them for me. I don't know.
I think if you know me, I think it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
fair.
we've chatted and like you got all the context and then we got to why I love them, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Because it does make perfect sense and embody it.
Nerd in me likes to wrap with a quick series of goofy questions, and then we'll get you out of here.
Okay.
The first is you're given the ability to have a cup of coffee with anyone of your choosing, dead or alive. Who's it going to be and why?
Are they still dead when we're drinking?
Well,
Am I having coffee with a corpse?
No, we'll spruce them up. They're alive. They're alive for this.
Okay.
This edition of what was it? Ice coffee and spliffs.
Yeah, iced coffee and spliffs. I would probably meet up with like Nikolai Tesla.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting to
Is there a correlation with the vehicle of that person or no?
No,
Okay.
no.
Who's Nikolai Tesla?
Nikolai Tesla is who Elon Musk bastardized and
Oh
branded
no.
his name. Nikolai Tesla,
Really?
yes, Nikolai Tesla was a scientist at the same time as like Thomas Edison during the commercialization of electricity. Nikolai Tesla was a scientist who was studying energy and electricity through like Earth's magnetic
Oh,
fields
cool.
and frequency studies. And they were really, really interesting, very valid. And that research is starting to become more and more relevant, which is why Musk bastardized the name Tesla. Because Tesla is now viewed as this very innovative, revolutionary scientist,
Ah,
but he lost out in the capitalism race. Edison was incredible at marketing.
really?
Yeah, he's incredible at capitalism, at marketing to people why his form of electricity was the form that was going to be for everyone,
Okay.
and why it was going to be great for cities and why you should invest in it and why you should buy it. And why that Nikolai guy is crazy, batshit crazy. Don't listen to
Really?
him. Yeah. So there was a battle between a lot of scientists for getting their means of electricity adopted by society on a mass level, because obviously there's a lot of money to be had in that. So Tesla was kind of is now recognized as
Do you
this kind
think
of
those
unsung
dudes
scientist.
back then were like, there's going to be money in this?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. They were like, this is
I just can't believe that for
fucking
like
incredible.
decades it wouldn't still be like, look at this, it's fucking, we have light.
Yeah. They capitalism is an insidious current. Not to be corny, but like it is.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. There was definitely competition over, just as there was for the expansion of land, ownership over everything. It's the same kind of principle where they were like, this is a completely unmarked territory. My means of electricity, my means of energy is going to be the means. It's just like the oil race, They were competing for what kind of grid was going to be adopted. And that's why he was like electrocuting elephants and shit. Like,
Who was?
Edison.
Really?
Yeah, he would have people over and be like, look at how powerful it is.
Had
And
access
like
to elephants?
kill an elephant. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know where he was getting these elephants.
Knew a guy in an alley.
Yeah,
man.
knew a guy in an alley, but was doing all of that was marketing and anyway, Nikolai Tesla would be the corpse I would have coffee with.
Yeah, he's very much alive for this.
Yeah, we could reanimate him.
There you go. Okay, you mentioned just a minute ago bucket list. This is a bucket list question for you. Personal and professional, if we can pretend or imagine we all sort of have these things, you're given all the necessary resources to go knock out number one on each of those lists. Okay. What are those number ones?
Wow. That's a big question because there are a lot of things. I think if I were given unlimited resources and it were a choice of number one, I would invest heavily in the social services in my community.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Is that scratching the itch for personal or professional or both?
I think personal.
Okay.
I think personal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would invest in, dependent on what the resources were, I would invest in that. I might invest in accessible, affordable housing.
Okay.
Or investing the amount of money in a resource that I really believe in, that I know just lacks the funding. They're not getting funding for certain reasons. So probably that. If I had unlimited resources, I think that is my first honest inclination. For something more fun, I would buy a giant warehouse and make it into an art studio and live in it and probably turn it into some kind of terrarium. Build a paradise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
In like Costa Rica or something.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Pura vida.
Yeah.
You're given the ability to visit your past self at any age of your choosing. We're not trying to change Cass Jones. This is not sad regret. But any age of your choosing. What age are you choosing and what are you saying?
I would probably go back to 13-year-old me.
Okay.
And this wouldn't change anything. I would just tell her to keep going.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You're aware that at one point there's a television program called Fear Factor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You win the challenge by tolerating the gross, whatever. This isn't that.
Okay.
This is real life. You got to get from point A to point B. And right in the middle is your biggest source of fear, anxiety, creeps, whatever it is. You got to get past it to get to the old point B over there. What is it?
That's a tough one because I think I would be really fucking good at Fear Factor.
Okay.
Per our conversation earlier,
Yeah.
I'm very good at getting
Yeah.
through discomfort. I think probably a very challenging discomfort for me to get to point A to point C, B in between would be I don't know, man. Like it probably involves a person more so than any kind of like critter or gross thing.
Like an enemy? Or like
Yeah, it would probably have to be like it would be my greatest fear that in order to get to point C, like point C is like everything I've ever dreamed of. Is that what we're talking about? Or like what's the destination?
I mean,
What's the prize at the end?
Just survival, perseverance. It's not necessarily quite that big, but it's kind of like I'm on a path and I'm fucking jazzed about it, and
Yeah.
I'm really, really jazzed. Of course, the experience is awesome, but I'm really jazzed about getting there.
Yeah.
And oh fuck, I didn't anticipate that. That's a hurdle.
Probably like if I had to kill a person.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody's ever said that. I
Yeah,
love that.
That would probably be it. If it was in between, I was gonna say like kiss Donald Trump or something.
Ugh.
That would be. I don't know if I could.
Show me who to kill.
Yeah, 100%.
Ugh.
But if we're talking just like like an in between, and it's not like my wildest dreams, yeah, I'd probably kill a person.
Okay.
Would be my greatest fear. If they're like, you can get there, but you got to kill this guy. I would. That
I
would
would need
destroy
a
me.
team working around the clock to tell me all of the reasons why this person should die. They're just horrible, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But mine is, I think, have you seen Kill Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. Mickey Rourke chloroforms Uma Thurman,
Yeah.
buries her alive.
Yeah.
That or the submersible Titanic thing.
Totally.
It's the fear of going insane.
Yeah.
Because if I woke up in either of those situations, everybody would be like, we got to kill this guy.
Yeah.
Because he's going to
Yeah.
be a hindrance to our trying to survive.
That's the guy you have to kill.
I would be going
Okay,
nuts.
That's different. If it's
Crazy.
a mercy kill, that's different.
Because the thought of going crazy
Yeah.
is terrifying to me.
Totally.
Like to lose your faculty.
Losing your mind. Yeah.
Last but not least, please complete this for me. The world would immediately become a better place in which to live, if only
We allowed people to be themselves.
Okay. I like it. I like all of those. Great answers. Thank you. CassJonesCreative.com and at Cass Jones on Instagram. 3 O's in that Jones. Other plugs?
Motel Venus.
Motel Venus.
Motel
July
Venus.
15th.
July 15th. Don't even bother looking up Cass Jones Creative or Cass Jones. That's my professional profile.
Okay.
You guys don't care about that. But Motel Venus.
Okay.
.studio.
.studio.
Yeah, keep an eye out for it.
Motel Venus. .studio.
Yeah. .studio.
The end?
At the end.
Okay. All right.
Motel Venus. Come stay a while.
Is there anything that you had hoped that we would cover that we did not?
No, I didn't
No?
really have any expectations at all.
Good.
This was cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
You were not the easiest sell, but you're a pretty easy sell to come sit in a stranger's basement. So
Yeah.
thanks for that.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of the Jones family roast. Is that
Jones family
the
roast.
Jones family roast?
Yeah.
You tell all the rest of them Joneses that, as far as I'm concerned, you're the fucking funniest by far.
Hell yeah.
Have I met any of the
Yeah.
others? Who's asking? Who's asking?
You don't need to. You already know.
So much fun. Definitely did not mean to keep you this late, but a couple chatty Cathys here.
Totally.
It's nice to meet you, and hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.